Hola familia de humanidad. Hello family. Salut la famille. I'm here. Yes, I'm here in MIXCO Viejo. I just arrived after a 2-hour drive from Guatemala, and I will tell you why it was the hardest place to conquer. The Spanish had a hard time to conquer this place, MIXCO Viejo. I will tell you why. If you're paying attention to this intro, you're actually already 50% on the answer. Look at this. All right, let's get into it. Hola familia de humanidad, it's Wallace. We are here at another temple on my big adventure of visiting 100+ temples in Central America. Mixco Viejo is in el departamento de Chimaltenango. It's 50 kilometers away from the city of Guatemala, and it's 64 kilometers away from Ishimchi, our last episode. If you haven't watched Ishimchi, I highly recommend it because there's a lot of things that will make more sense if you understand the story of Ishimchi. But keep that in mind, 64 kilometers away from Ishimchi, we find Mixco Viejo. Right now, right here, over here, we are in group D, which is the second group that we meet when we arrive at Mixco Viejo. Group K is right there, and it used to be the original entrada, the original entry of this complex. This beautiful temple was established in 1450. And if you remember when I talked about Ishimchi, I said it was around 1450 also, 1470. And my hypothesis is those guys, the Chahoma, they used to live in a place called Ocal, which is only 20 kilometers from Ishimchi. So probably one day they saw thousands of people coming, traveling, and they thought, oof, we should move because this is really, how can I say this? Dangerous for our community. Like those guys, thousands of people, maybe the word was passing around that they were the Cachiquel people that were moving from Cumarcaj. So they thought, oh, all right, let's move from our place, which is Ocal, and let's move to Mixco Viejo, which is another 40 kilometers further. So they are safer. First, the archaeologists thought that this site, this temple, was for the Pocomang Maya. But then, going back, doing more investigation, we finally conclude that the people living here were actually the Chahoma. And it makes a lot of sense because the Chahoma spoke Cachiquel, mismo the same as the people in Ishimchi. So let's recap quickly. The Chahoma lived in Ocal, which is the modern day Chuisac. If you guys want to go and see it on Google, I don't know, maybe some of you are interested in this beautiful story of the Maya. So they were living in Ocal. They saw thousands of people coming closer to them, and they thought, let's move. It was a great king at that time ruling the Chahoma people who decide, guys, we need to move. We need to be safer because those people just escaped Kumarkaj and they are going to establish in Ishimchi. They are really powerful. We don't want any war with them. That great king, the one who decided to move from Ocal and come to MIXCO Viejo, was named Lahuch Noch. He's the one who took the decision. Guys, we are moving. We are going to a place safer because we don't want any of that war, any of that competition with the Ishimche people that are going to establish real soon. So let's move. And they come to MIXCO Viejo. Back then, it wasn't named MIXCO Viejo. It was named Chuakpek Keka Ajkol Nimahabach, which means great stone in front of the children of night. And even if those guys decided to come further from Ishimchi, I will tell you later, but it didn't work. The Ishimchi people were really, really strong back then. This is Group BX. It was known back then to be the place where they did the biggest ceremony. And ceremony always include offering, and they were already using a technology that we all have at our disposition, which is fasting. They were fasting and feasting also. They were dancing, they were chanting, and most important of all, they were doing a gigantic fire, because fire was kind of the center right here. The center, the energy, the thing that regroup everyone together and with the same mission, the same divinity, the same energy, the same way of living. It's like the creation. So Group BX was one of the most important plaza in MIXCO Viejo for the ceremonies. Do we go on top? Uh, okay. Okay, yes, we go on top. Those steps are tiny, 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 tiny. In architecture, we've learned that the regular or the code says that here it should be 7.25 inch, and here it should be 12. So this is like the opposite. This looks like 12, and this looks like maybe 6 inch. So it's really irregular, really steep, and this is where we are going. All right, let's go sideways because whew, this is steep. Wow. Wow. Group D, where we started. Group BX, it was really central. And then we're coming here and look at this gigantic wall, retaining wall. And it continues far, far, far away. Let's go up, let's go see, let's go explore. You should know what this is, right? You saw the first video at Ishimchi. You should know what this is. Wow, it's so beautiful. It's in really good shape. This is the ballcourt, family humanity. And here you can see markers. Let me zoom in on it. Those are called markers. We don't really know what is the purpose of them, but we know that they are called markers. And that's probably our own term. Wow. Here it is, the marker. Ah, you can see a face coming out, and it represents the head of a snake. It's perfectly centered in the middle of the ball court. So probably it was something about the rule. Maybe one team needed to stay on one side and the other team needed to stay on the other side. You cannot cross this line. And then they used to have something else, like a goal, because they play with a rubber ball. And they cannot use hands, they cannot use feet. They only use the hip or the knees. Pretty intense game. And then they used to have, pretty sure they used to have one over here also, just not sure where it was. Another similar to a marker, it's like a post, and then there's a hole in the middle, like like in Harry Potter, like that little ball you need to throw in that big loop. But for them, the ball was bigger and the loop was smaller, so even harder. After group BX, you climb up that big retention wall and you finally arrive at the ball court that I showed you right there. And then you see those twin pyramids. It has been said. Who said it? I don't know. But it has been said that those two pyramids were built for astronomy. To understand more about the sky, the sun, and how they did it was with the space in between. So let me go and check a little bit in my research the alignment of those pyramids, and then I will give you some more details. But it is said that this space in between those two pyramids was used to track the sun trajectory and other movement in the sky. Those are the two biggest pyramids in the full complex of MIXCO VIEJO. They are beautiful. And from my research, again, it's just research, maybe I'm wrong. But from my research, this gigantic complex was built not with limestone. It was built with pumice and what's it called? The other mica. So pumice is a type of rock really special. If you want to know if you found some pumice, you take the rock and you put it in water. It's the less denser rock of all the rocks. It's so light that it will float. It's a rock that floats in water. So if you want to know if you found pumice, take it, put it in water. If it floats, you have pumice, my friend. And mica, most of you know mica, right? It's really, really, really shiny. And it's lightweight with layers. It's easy to find in slabs. So that's probably the reason why they use it for that kind of structure. Because the composition of mica rock is really linear. And pumice is really easy to work. So probably that's why they choose those two rocks. Quick info. When I left the site after, with my motorcycle, I went around and I saw millions of slabs. All the rock composition around this site are slabs of rock. So it's normal that they use slabs. Okay, back to the program. Now it's time to get on top of one of those twin pyramids. Which one? You said this one? Alright, let's go. Let's go. Same step composition. Not wide. Really steep. So we'll climb sideways again. Just for your information, this is mica. You can see layers you can see how it's all linear. And it's really, really, really shiny. Wow. Wow. This is so beautiful. Maravilloso. Buenísimo. Muy lindo. Archaeologists says that at their peak, the Chahoma people living here in MIXCO Viejo were approximately 10,000, a little bit less than 10,000 people. That's practically the same as Ishimchi. The Chahoma, the Cachiquel, and the Quiche people were the biggest Maya civilization in all of the islands in Guatemala. And it's not easy to understand when you see how big this complex is. It's gigantic. And they use the topography of the land to be able to be here in Group B, for example, and then see Group D right over there, and then Group BX right over there, and then another group over there that we need to go see, and then another group over there that we need to go see, another one over there that we need to go see. So they really put a layout, really interesting, really smart architect building here, because they were using the land, building in symbiosis with the land instead of destroying the land.